That would have been a better intro.
Yeah. There's actually something with colorblind people. We apparently see more shades of beige than anyone else.
Who cares about beige?
Right. Like everyone goes, oh, you can't see red and you can't see green, and you mix up blue and purple and you do this and you do that. And yeah, that's totally true. But I can see like 90 shades of beige when you see 3.
Oh, wow.
So,
beige.
Yeah.
That's
the 90s were my heyday, man.
That's where all that makeup comes in. All those beige makeups. It's all for those colorblind people.
Yeah. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 80.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Ow! Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday night. John, happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us here on the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was either stay home and drink or come here and drink.
That's right.
So I was just like, I'm going to be drinking either way. I don't really care.
And I'm really glad you're here to drink today, buddy.
Me too, Jeff.
Yeah, that's right.
Me too.
We broke out the fancy stuff for tonight's show in honor of John turning, what is it, the big 39?
I wish. Not really, no.
Yeah.
No. I've like stopped counting.
Yeah.
I think it's 34.
34?
Yeah. I think so, right?
It's right around there.
It's right around there.
It's ish. I know we're close.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wasn't sure where we were
33, 30, 85, so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're 34 then.
Yeah.
There you go.
Next year, I'm going to feel so bad next year.
There you go. Yeah, you're 34.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show, everyone. We'll be cracking open some brews, and actually we're going to start out the show mixing up a cocktail. Let me know what you guys are drinking down in comments below. I'd love to hear about it.
Yep.
All right. John, we talked a little bit before the show, and I said, you know what? We don't have a lot of beer news tonight. Let's mix up a cocktail.
Yep.
And send me a cocktail request. And you said...
I said, I just like good old-fashioned.
Good old-fashioned.
Good old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned is my wheelhouse. And I've said this on the show before, where I will go to bars and order an old-fashioned and judge that bar entirely on the drink that they serve me.
Oh, yeah.
It is my litmus test, my bar that I set for whether or not you are a good enough bar to be serving me a drink. For me to be paying $12 for a cocktail.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's a simple cocktail. It should be a simple cocktail.
Yes.
What, 3 ingredients?
Right.
That if you can't get 3 ingredients correct, you're not a good bartender.
That's right. Woo! Senor Diaz, thanks for the server videos, sir. Ever had EKU28? I'm not sure what that is. Doesn't sound familiar.
Doesn't sound familiar to me either.
Yeah. But $20 donation. Thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, but it's a simple drink, and the reason it's called an old-fashioned was they started trying to spice it up or muddle fruit in the bottom of it or add all these different liqueurs and spirits to it. And eventually it was, you know what, give me a whiskey cocktail, just make it old-fashioned. Because it was the whiskey cocktail.
Yeah.
So an old-fashioned to me is whiskey, bitters, a little bit of sugar. And some people say sugar cube, although if you're using ice, don't use a sugar cube because it won't dissolve. Use simple syrup. End of that argument. That's enough.
Yes.
This is more accurate than a sugar cube is now, modern days, since we use ice. Anyway, and then if you want to add a little bit of fruit, maybe like a Luxardo cherry or something like that.
Yeah.
But nothing muddled, nothing shaken, nothing weird.
Possibly an orange peel.
Also an orange peel.
Yeah. So then four ingredients.
Right. But that's an old-fashioned to me.
Yeah.
We're going to mix up an old-fashioned today. We're going to do something... now, you can do an old-fashioned out of pretty much anything. There's a rum old-fashioned. There's a tequila old-fashioned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different old-fashions. Basically, you just need a darker liquor.
Yeah.
We're going to do a gin old-fashioned.
Okay.
Hear me out.
But
okay?
You just said dark liquor.
I did. Hear me out.
I've never seen a dark gin. Unless you have a dark gin.
I have today.
Is that a rye gin or something?
This is a gin. It is an oak finished gin.
Okay.
Okay. Are you on board yet?
I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm in. You've piqued my interest.
Okay. So this is a barrel finished gin from Big Bottom Brewery. It's a small batch gin. These guys are up, I believe, in Hillsboro, Oregon. So they're a local
boys.
distiller. I have been really digging their stuff yet. Hashtag not sponsored, but totally call me. Anyway, it's a 45.5%, and it's a Northwest style gin, so a lot of the spruce and juniper botanicals and whatnot,
like.
and but barrel finished, oak barrel finished. So we're gonna make essentially a whiskey old fashioned, but with a gin. And the reason I came up with this was I kept drinking this straight, and it's amazing straight. It is so good straight. But I couldn't find a good gin cocktail to mix it in. I tried making gimlets or different
just slightly
different
off.
mules or different, and there was always this flavor that was just weird. And I'm like, this tastes a lot like a rye. What if I mixed it like a rye?
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do tonight, making an old fashioned.
Oh. So it looks like the EKU28 is a European style beer, or is a European beer.
Okay.
So no, I haven't had it. I don't believe you probably ever had it.
Doesn't look like it. No.
No.
That doesn't look familiar to me.
No. So, although there's a lot of European beers out here that we can go have access to.
Absolutely.
I might actually go try it now. If it's a recommended beer.
And we're going.
Oh, it's not the Death Star cubes?
It's not the Death Star ones, but they are.
I like the push out. That's nice.
Yeah. They're silicone tops, so
But yeah,
they pop right
I have
out.
all
You
silicone.
get
And
nice.
That's a real pain in the butt.
Oh yeah, they are.
You gotta like crack it.
Yeah, these ones are solid on the bottom, so they make a little bit better spear, and they're a little bit easier to get out. I forgot my jigger.
Oh, I thought I saw it.
No, I completely forgot it downstairs.
Well. Hey, Craft Computing's on live.
That's right.
Check us out.
There we go. That's good.
Good enough for a jigger.
It's 2 ounces. All right. So basically the way I make this is a 2.5 ounce pour of this gin. So that's 2. I'm going to do 4. And then we'll do another half of one. Because again, we're making a double measure here. There we go. We need about 3/4 of an ounce of this. So we're going to do probably about 1.25 ounces or so. Don't want to make it too sweet.
Unless you like a sweet.
Unless you can sweeten it up a little bit, certainly.
Yeah.
And then I usually do 2 dashes of this, so we'll do a good 4. There we go. And this is kind of like an Angostura bitters, but it's from the Bitter Housewife. This is also a Portland, Oregon local bitters company, and they are
a good bitters
fantastic.
really does make the cocktail too. That's
Yes.
the thing. And there are other flavors of bitters you can use. A lot of people do use more of an orange bitters instead of an orange zest peel.
Totally.
Too.
Yeah, I have some orange bitters downstairs from when I don't have oranges on hand.
So there are little shortcuts you can make to still have a really good old fashioned.
But smell that.
Ooh, that actually kind of is half and half gin and half kind of a rye whiskey.
Yeah, and when you taste it, it's even more pronounced. All right, so I'm gonna get that over our big cubes so we don't dilute too much. There we go. And then I am actually gonna garnish this with a lime.
Oh, even different.
Right.
Now the reason for the big cube, ice cube too, is actually it melts a lot, not as fast.
Right. It's a slower dilution.
It's a slower dilution to where crushed ice, the warmth of the liquid dilutes a lot faster. Where you have this large surface body, it'll keep your drink nice and cool, won't dilute it, so you're getting the flavor of the beverage a lot longer and still getting that temperature.
Right. So that is my gin old fashioned.
All right.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. That's ooh, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. That's different.
There's a peppercorn flavor to this gin.
It's like right up front. Mm-hmm. It almost kind of has.
And actually, that might have been a little bit too sweet.
Yeah,
a little bit too much sugar.
It does taste a little sweet.
Yeah.
It's almost making it kind of tastes like a fireball, like a cinnamon whiskey.
There's cinnamon in the bitters.
Okay, then that might be.
So that's where you're getting that.
That's
from.
where I'm getting that. Yep. Okay. The aroma though is phenomenal.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite, more recent discoveries. I started making these probably about 3 or 4 months ago. I've been drinking this gin for probably 6 or 8 months is when I found this. And it's a phenomenal gin, but it's not what I would use in a traditional gin cocktail. I wouldn't do a lot of lime with it. I wouldn't do crushed ice or anything like that. It's got, like I said, very much a rye-like flavor to it. It's got this oaky pepperiness to it.
Yeah, it almost tastes like, you're already ice and rye, or, ice and whiskey without the ice, but you've already diluted it with the ice. Kind of a thing, so you can have it straight, but it tastes like an ice and whiskey.
Right. So...
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite new cocktails.
Yeah.
So,
but actually, speaking of cocktails, what's interesting is another thing you can do with whiskeys is one of the big things is Coke and whiskey.
Right.
That's a big Coke and whiskey. Another really simple cocktail. I don't really go and judge bars on Coke and whiskey, so because half the time it's just whiskey and splash of Coke or whatever.
Jameson, if you're lucky.
Yes, if you're lucky. Yeah. Which is so weird. They'll probably charge you more for Jack than Jameson. Which is, so dumb. But anyways, an interesting news is that Coca-Cola is actually releasing special Posh Cokes for spirit mixing, specifically designed for mixing.
In fact, what they're doing is they're creating a line of bitters.
Yeah.
Is what these are.
Oh, is what I thought they were actual Cokes.
No, they're lines of bitters. And so they're producing little bottles, probably about that big, like the larger Angostura bottles.
Okay.
But they're going to crimp top them like they do.
Soda bottles?
Soda bottles. So it's going to be the traditional, shoulder Coke bottle shape. But yeah, they're starting out with 4 different bitters flavors.
Yeah, they got herbal...
which actually has hops in it. It's hops, dill seed, tagetes, and lemongrass.
Yeah.
There's the smoky one, which is yanglang, I believe. Ambret seed, Peru balsam, oak extract, and gracia wood.
Never heard of half of those ingredients.
Then there's the spicy, which I think you would probably be down for. Lime, ginger, rosemary, jasmine, and jalapeno.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I read that and I went, that's John's wheelhouse.
Yeah. Actually, the next one sounds more like you.
Yes. Actually, the Woody is the whiskey lover. Oh, yeah. That's where that's at. The patchouli, balsam cabrilla.
Basil. Or no.
Basil, vetiver, and vutsu.
So yeah, that'll be kind of a...
And I know I just butchered half that list.
Yeah.
I'm just reading this offhand. So.
But that would be kind of a cool 4-pack set if they'd sell all 4 of those.
I'd totally buy it.
Yeah, I would totally buy it. I can see that going for $15-$20, and bitters last a long time. And if they're quality bitters, $20 for that much... It is. Well,
I think this bottle is usually around $12. A lot of the Angosturas you'll spend between $8 and $15, depending on the size of the bottle that you get.
So if this is even halfway decent bitters,
honestly, a 4-pack I'd do $25-$30. Yeah. If they're quality bitters. Now, if they're crap, then no, I'm out.
Well, if they're crap and they're $20, I might buy it. Just for the chance of trying it.
That is not an old fashioned. Technically, an old fashioned is a classification of cocktail now. That is the base spirit plus simple syrup or sugar. So you can muddle a sugar cube if you'd like. Ice and a simple garnish. That is what an old fashioned is. So there's a rum old fashioned where it's 1 or 2 types of rum. And then you can garnish that with a cherry or an orange or I've even seen an apple done on a couple of occasions. There's a tequila old fashioned where you mix it with tequila and that's
a worm on the side.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, an old fashioned is technically a classification of cocktail anymore, and you can do it with almost any spirit. Yeah. This is a gin old fashioned by letter of the law.
Yeah. So now, what you're referring to is a traditional old fashioned is not even this. Yeah, right. That's essentially what I believe you're going to be referring to is the traditional old fashioned. No, this is not a traditional old fashioned. There's the old fashioned category. So
yep. Yeah, Coca-Cola. I totally want some of those.
Yeah, I think this would be really cool. There wasn't I didn't see a date of when they're coming out.
No.
Or even if it's going to be nationwide, unfortunately. Yeah. Maybe if we're lucky, Amazon, something like that.
Yeah.
That would be kind of
well.
nice.
Oftentimes bitters have alcohol in them, so Amazon might not be a good way to go.
I'm betting Coca-Cola will not have alcohol in it.
I wouldn't put it past them to have alcohol in bitters. Number one, it also acts as a preservative.
Could.
So, especially for the concentration of flavors that they're trying to keep in there, alcohol usually preserves that a little bit better.
Well, they did say a lot of these flavors were came out of professional mixologists.
Yeah.
They said they went with some really renowned mixologists. I don't remember half of their names. The article's probably in the links in the description below. But so it's not just the Coca-Cola scientists mixing flavors and like everyone's gonna love this.
Right. These are professional bartenders and mixologists that have come up with these recipes.
Yeah, and teamed up with Coca-Cola.
And they have their signatures on the bottles, which I thought was really cool. Those are the signatures of the people who made the mix.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So.
And someone said mixology is not by the book. If you want that, go elsewhere. And yeah, that's exactly right. Like I said, technically this is a gin old-fashioned, and that's kind of what I'm calling it. But technically an old-fashioned doesn't include gin. So what do you call that? But usually people wouldn't include a barrel-aged gin in a cocktail. Yeah. So that's how we got this.
But essentially that's the essence of your show is craft computing is... Gin or cocktail making is a craft, and it's not just a standard blueprint of X, Y, and Z equals this. No, let's throw A, B with X, Y, and Z, and let's see what comes out. And hey, I like that.
Exactly.
Same with craft beer. That's why we like these types of drinks.
Yep.
And that's what you do with a lot of the tech. So it's hey, what can I do with this?
Yeah, the definition of craft that I like is made with purpose and care.
There you go.
And that's kind of the theme of my channel is I do a lot of things on purpose, but I do them well.
Yeah.
And cocktails is something that I'm enthusiastic about. Beer is another thing I'm enthusiastic about, and tech is something I'm very enthusiastic about. So there we go. F this, I'm going back to by the book computing.
Computing for dummies. Oh,
nice.
I'm gonna start that channel.
Nice. By the book computing. By John. How do you build a computer? You can build a computer with only this way.
Only this way.
Only this
no
way.
other way is technically a computer.
That's right. You want to see a shill. There you go.
It's all Intel.
There you go. I'm going to close the window since the guy's mowing
mowing the lawn. It makes us sound like we're in the Northwest. It's great ambient background.
Yeah. It's like, why am I suddenly yelling in here? Oh, there's a lawnmower outside. That makes sense. Beer bongs and computers. Oh, where were we? Hardware news.
Hardware news.
That's pretty much all we had for beer news.
Yeah, not a whole lot in the world of alcoholic beverages went on. Anything that was worth reporting. I mean, new beer release here, new beer release there, but you know, nothing fancy or anything. So.
Right. This month is also going to be a little bit light on tech news unless there's some leaks that come out of Computex. Because remember, Computex starts May 28th. And so there's not a lot in the realm of tech either. The reason I say that is I think we only have 3 tech stories, and I think we came up with like 4 that are games, entertainment, pop culture, that kind of thing. So we're going to have time for some Q&A tonight after the show. Hold your questions until after the show.
And try not to make them Star Trek related, because then it's going to be a 4-hour show.
Right. Yeah.
Not that we don't like Star Trek related questions.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll get into them.
We'll get into it. But obviously we want to address what people want to talk about first.
So we'll get through the news points. We'll engage comments that are relevant. And then after the show, submit your questions. Yes. And it'll be pretty much ask us anything. So.
Yes. Not after we're done and in the comments below, but we'll be talking. Probably be our show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say by 9:20, which is about an hour from now, we'll start taking questions. So, all right, let's get into some tech news. So we're gonna start over with Camp Intel, And there's a little bit of news coming out. Now, we know they're coming out with GPUs. In fact, they opened a facility in Canada to start manufacturing GPUs. And we're expecting them to launch sometime in 2020. So sometime in the next 12 to 18 months. My guess, I would say third quarter 2020. If I had to throw something out there, I'd say August 2020. We will have an Intel GPU in our hands. Whether it's a data center GPU or a discrete GPU is still up to whoever. But the latest news is that Intel's Xe GPUs will feature hardware-level ray tracing support, just like NVIDIA's cards with the Turing architecture, with the dedicated RTX cores.
Yeah.
Basically, what ray tracing is, it's a form of artificial intelligence. And AI is huge in data centers and big data right now, for the ability to chew through large subsets of data and reach actual applicable results to what you're trying to find out.
Yeah.
And so the things that they're trying to push down into the gaming market are things that are being developed for enterprise and for big data. And that's really the way of the world. I mean, that's why we're starting to see a lot more cores in consumer CPUs. There's a reason that hardware and architecture typically goes the way that it does. It's because the data centers drive it first.
Well, they're the big bucks. I mean,
right.
they're the ones buying it. That's,
right.
Consumers, as much as we spend money, they spend billions upon billions, and then all of a sudden a new cloud storage data center pops up and, my data goes into the cloud.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about this a number of times where someone wants to build a new data center and it's like, that's $2 billion in hardware.
Yeah.
And that's another $2 billion in hardware in about 3 years. Plus about $1 billion in a year to keep that hardware maintained. Yeah. And so, it's as much money as you guys think you spend.
No, yeah. The consumer end is so low bottom.
Big data and data center rules the roost.
Yeah.
And that's been corroborated by earnings reports from both Intel and NVIDIA as of late, and starting to be the thing with AMD as well. They're starting to take a chunk out of Intel Xeon.
Oh yeah, I mean, we might actually even see a shift in the processors that go by 2022. It's just going to be kind of a weird thing.
Yep. I've already said as much.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
we've discussed it lengthily.
Yeah. So Intel announced their FMX graphics, or at the FMX graphics trade show in Germany, that Intel Xe GPUs are primarily being developed for data centers, but they are coming with hardware ray tracing support. And there is an entire team that is devoted to taking the GPU development and developing discrete GPUs for consumers to use at home, in potentially competing products with AMD and NVIDIA. And as we said many times on the show, competition is always, always, always a good thing for the consumer, because the consumer wins. As long as there's a competing product, you have to have a competing product.
Yeah, you can't have a 10x price point and can't compete.
Right.
Be like, we put it out there. No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't be, hey, we're NVIDIA, we make really nice Camrys, and then Intel comes in and says, well, we have a Maserati we can sell you. Those aren't competing products.
Those aren't competing products, yeah. But then AMD is like, hey, we got a Hyundai Elantra.
Yep. Or a Veloster. Ask me about the Hyundai Veloster sometime. So basically the point of this article is that they're really focusing on big data, but they're also focusing on rendering technology, and specifically like movie rendering technology. The use case they bring up is the movie How to Train Your Dragon: Hidden World. They rendered that on CPU because it's way more accurate. Mm-hmm. Now the problem with that is it's way slower.
Yeah.
The amount of computation time required, CPU versus GPU parallelized processing and coding, is night and day. I mean, you're talking a CPU with, throw it at a server rack and you've got 1,000 cores in there. Well, we're talking about a single GPU with 4,000 cores.
Yeah.
And then add Infinium into a 42U rack, you're talking a supercomputer. Yeah.
40,000.
Right.
That one.
Well, you're talking 80,000 because you can double them up.
Oh yeah.
If not more.
So yeah, you're talking that movie that took 24, 48 hours to render, probably a week. 5-hour lunch break, 2-hour lunch break.
Yeah.
Let's go take a lunch break. Hey, I didn't like that. Let's re-edit this and re-render this tomorrow.
And that's also what ray tracing is aimed at is Hollywood studios. It's tracing the light and the reflections for rendered graphics. And you think, well, they can do that in games already. Trust me, rendering is not what we see in games. Rendering is... Cinebench is a render. And that's a CPU rendering one frame at less than 1080p. If you want to put it into context of what a render of a 3D video actually takes. Think of that times 24 frames per second times the 7 million frames in a video.
Yeah.
So...
Where now a lot of modern videos too are, 70, 80% graphics, 3D graphics. Yeah. So, imagine Avatar
Every
2.
scene has visual effects.
Yeah, imagine Avatar 2, Avatar 3 with ray tracing. Mm-hmm. And then be it comparative to Avatar 1. You're like, oh my gosh, this is literally like watching Toy Story 1 in a live action movie.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. The water will be so crisp.
Yep. Did they use ray tracing on Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3? Because I couldn't see shit. I love how in Episode 3, everyone complained that they couldn't see anything, and then in Episode 4, they complained it was too light, and I could see the coffee cup.
Yeah. Now, the ray tracing on that one was the was the software update package version. Mm. They're like, oh yeah, you can do it, but you just have to turn the brightness up. It's back there. We ray trace black.
Yep. That is all to say, technology starts with the data center and trickles down, but we're seeing some really cool development on the Intel side of things for GPUs on the data center and big data and rendering side of things. And the fact that they're talking about producing gaming and discrete graphics cards for the consumer level of products can hopefully only mean good things. Now, again, they have to come out with a competing product stack, or at least a couple of cards that do slot in somewhere with the AMD and NVIDIA offerings.
It's probably going to be high-end.
I would guess.
I would guess it's probably going to start high-end. It's not going to be mid-tier. It's probably going to be the $400 or $500 category.
And that's exactly where I would put it probably from the start. Maybe an $800 card and a $600 card. Or $500.
Something like that. And be just competitive with, hey, you get this and maybe a gift card or something, $50 gift card here. So it kind of balances out. Yeah.
Best regards from Poland, 5:20 a.m. What are you drinking this morning? I'm kidding. But seriously, thank you for watching.
He's like, Scotch.
It's usually my answer at 5 in the morning.
Scotch and a sausage. Oh, man, if I could have that for breakfast every day.
I'd drive to work happy.
Yeah.
Greetings from my house. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hey, you've been around for a while, too. I recognize you. I don't know how to say your name, but I recognize you. How much faith do y'all have in Intel GPUs? I have faith that Intel can produce something this go round because they seem very committed. In the past, they've come out with graphics cards for the data centers, but they've allocated like 7 engineers and a couple $100 million to development. They've never really gone full hog into it. Yeah. What I see now is they've bought a fab facility specifically for producing these cards. They are way more invested into developing that technology than they've ever been before, which tells me we're actually going to see a product out of this. How good that product is, I don't know yet. It's all speculation, and honestly, we're a year away from seeing any kind of solid specs. But Intel certainly has the resources to do something like this. Now, the one area of concern I have is they say it's going to be on 10 nanometer. And we all know how well Intel produces 10 nanometer fabs. So. Tasha says whiskey, actually.
Oh. Yes, fine with me.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Hopefully it's not on 14 nanometer. Yeah, would that be plus RTX? Oh, that's good. That is a good drink, if I do say so myself.
I like that. You know, what I really like about that, it's familiar yet foreign.
Yes.
You're like, I've had something like this before, but yet I can't put my finger on it. Mm-hmm. But I like this.
Right. It's it has a lot of the old-fashioned elements. Like I said, it's got the bitters, and because this is a barrel-finished, oak-finished gin, it has a lot of that oakiness and woodiness and the richness
exactly,
there.
like I was saying, it's kind of more of like a watered-down whiskey.
Yeah. The other thing that it has going for it is the foreign base, is that it is still a gin. You've got the juniper and the spruce and the cypress and the botanicals that are there that are really kind of effervescent and lighter body.
Well, that's what I was saying. The aroma is so pleasant smelling. You get that juniper, you kind of get a pine, and then especially with this lime, it brings... In my mind, I get lime and gin. That's how I connect a lot of that.
Right.
So the aromatics of it is, this is a bit more of a ginny. Right. I drink it, this is a bit more whiskey.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, what is this?
Right, and so it's like a refreshing whiskey drink is what it is. Because a whiskey drink is typically a little bit heavher. And this doesn't weigh on
I guess that's what I was trying to get at with the watered down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit more of a refreshing beverage. Or whiskey.
Right.
I do have a refreshing beverage if we want to try one.
Let's go for it.
Let's try it. So I
introduce that.
actually had this beer on my show 2 weeks ago, and I had a request to bring it on because they wanted to see Jeff's reaction to it. This is a cucumber sour beer. This is made at a local brewery here in Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon. This is Oakshire Brewing Sun-Made Cucumber Sour. This is made with 100 pounds of cucumber per batch, freshly peeled. They peel them. I met the guy who actually peels. He's like, it's a horrible day. He hates making this. He comes back, his hands and arms are just stained green.
Yeah, and I've met him too, and he come in and goes, fucking Tuesday.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So every batch is slightly different because it's fresh made cucumber. It's not just some cucumber extract.
Right.
So, but they'd like to see what Jeff's reaction was to it.
And Oakshire has some of my favorite stouts of all time.
Oh yeah,
they absolutely do.
If you can make it, June 15th. I think Steve and I are going. It's Hellshire Day. It's Oakshire Barrel event.
Yes.
I did a video last year. Go check it out. But it's some of the best beer. I think I spent $50 and I only had 6 beers.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. 100% worth it.
Yep.
So this is a light beer too. It's in the 4.1, so very session.
Well, we'd consider session.
Yeah.
Consider.
So this is right up a Norwegian beer.
Yeah.
This is like an Imperial Norwegian beer.
Norway legal?
Yeah.
Imperial Norway. Sorry, Claw. Very cucumbery.
It has a very cucumbery, weird aroma.
Yeah.
You're like, this is not going to taste good. This is going to be funky.
Right. It smells like I'm literally like biting a cucumber right now. Like I've got one between my teeth and the juices are dripping down my face kind of thing. Okay.
It's a little warm too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little warmer than I would
would have liked to serve it. Right. Yeah. This is best crisp cold.
Yeah. Yeah, colder, this would be amazingly good.
Yeah, cold, it's a great lawnmower beer, ice cold.
Yeah.
You really do taste that crushed cucumber ice water type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
On another topic, how likely is it that AMD can keep 16-core 5 gigahertz CPU cooled even on 7 nanometer? Very likely, because if Intel put any decent thermal compound between their IHS and the die itself, we could probably keep the Intel chips cool. We can keep most of their chips cool at 4.7 with a D-lid and some liquid metal. And if you remember, all of AMD's processors are soldered, and a pretty darn good solder job. Not the crap that they put on the 9000 series Intel chips, and we have to scrape off in liquid metal anyway. No. So I think there's actually a pretty significant chance we will be able to hit 5 gigahertz on 7 nanometer and be able to run at a reasonable temperature. Because remember, power equals heat. It's not the frequency, it's the power.
Yeah.
We had 4 gigahertz processors almost in the Pentium 4 days on a single core. Now, they ran at 99C constantly. You couldn't do anything.
They were heaters.
Right. And they were also 225 watt TDP chips. It was the wattage, not the frequency.
Well, yeah, one of the new AMDs are coming out with 94-watt ones too.
95 watt, I think, for the 8 core.
Yeah.
And I think like 135 or 145 for the 16 core.
So you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You're gonna be fine. Yep. Pardon me while I get my cucumber carrot beet apple stout.
I've had a beet sour beer before.
I haven't had any beet beers. I'm trying to think of what the weirdest beer flavor I've had.
I've had some. Okay. So, interesting thing. So, my birthday today, my wife usually surprises me. She's always like, what do you want? What do you know what I want. So, she surprised me today.
No. Other than that. Oh, beer.
There's another joke there, but yes, that's exactly what happened.
I tried to keep it clean.
That's exactly what happened this morning, but yeah.
What happened or what you asked for?
No, the joke.
Okay.
She was trying to give me my present. I was like, oh, I know what this is. So I have there's a meadery here in Oregon called Viking Braggett. And so all their stuff is mead based. I have a coffee porter mead. Which would be, I have coffee, chocolate, and honey. Ooh. That'll be an interesting one. I thought I'll bring that on maybe next time.
I'd be interested in trying that.
Yeah.
I love mead.
So it'll be interesting. There was another one I had. I got 2 gluten-free ones too.
Nice.
So that Ghost Fish Brewery.
Yeah.
So I had barrel aged.
I think I have a Ghost Fish stout down in my fridge right now.
Yeah. So I have I think it's the coffee stout I have, or porter, which might be the one you have.
I think I got the porter, not the stout, because she's not a fan of coffee.
Okay, and I think I got the coffee, but I have a Belgian barrel aged with cherries.
Ooh.
So gluten free.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, she got me a lot of weird stuff, which I like.
Yeah.
I like weird stuff.
Yes.
So
excellent. Yeah.
So we'll have lots of cool things, and I don't know if they're good, and that's why Jeff always complains that I bring weird, crappy stuff on his show. I don't care. It's weird.
It's not the weird stuff. It's the crappy stuff.
I don't know if it's good. Well,
it's the Budweiser Discovery Lager.
Hey, come on. We talk about it. We got to bring it on the show. And I'm going to bring the Pabst Imperial and the Pabst White Whiskey. Well, you might even buy it.
At least it's not Steve with the Natty Light Fruit Punch.
I don't know. Well, what do you prefer? The Natty Light Fruit Punch, or I can bring more Zima? Pick one.
Natty?
Wow, was it that bad?
What I prefer.
Well, yeah. Was that punch thing that bad?
No, it was palatable as long as it was ice cold.
Okay, would you rather have ice cold not Natty Light, but Zima I brought in the show.
I don't know, the Zima was pretty bad.
That was bad. I mean, even I was like, this is horrible.
That was pretty bad. What would I rather have? You know, we should do a challenge one of these days with like a social show where we all bring what we think is the best malt liquor.
Ooh, but I would have to drink a bunch of malt liquor to figure out what the best one was.
Right. So think of what like the most palatable malt liquor out there would be, and maybe compare those.
I wouldn't buy that. What I've always wanted to do is probably
that's an episode on your show.
That would be good. I always thought an episode for my show too, but with you, me, Steve, Rhett, we'd have to be here, would be domestics, and then throw in like 1 or 2 crafts, but we don't have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
And then we all have to pick it out. Kind of a thing. Like not just like Budweiser, but we throw...
Rhett's gonna suck at
like,
that.
No, but we throw like Rhett's Rainier in there.
Yeah.
We throw like not top level craft beer, but like Blue Moon. I'm going to throw a Blue Moon in there. I'm going to throw an Ninkasi in there.
Well, the problem with that is you have to match styles. If you really want it to be a blind taste test.
You can go all Pilsners or lagers.
Right.
Because Pilsners or Pale Ales, you can pretty much find that in domestics and craft.
Right.
And,
because they don't require very much grain or hops.
Exactly. So...
Because you can produce them cheap.
But then you are blind tasting it, and then you judge what's your favorite one.
Yep.
Or try to figure out, I don't know, something like that. I thought it would be fun.
All right. Next news story we've got is... Now, there's a little bit of tie-in with the Intel thing, because NVIDIA already has ray tracing graphics cards on the market. Intel announced they're coming out with ray tracing graphics cards for the professional and consumer market.
Yeah.
When asked, Lisa was a little bit cagey on whether or not 7nm Navi would have ray tracing hardware baked in. Now, we know the PlayStation 5, which runs on AMD graphics, has ray tracing hardware built in. And so we know the technology exists, but whether or not they're planning that for a consumer release on Navi PCIe cards, that's another discussion because she wouldn't confirm or deny. But what we do know is 7nm Navi and Epyc Rome CPUs will launch next quarter.
That's quick.
Yes.
I think it's even quicker than what we were thinking about.
No, we knew it was going to be third quarter.
Okay.
And so this is just kind of confirming what we already had speculated on.
Well,
What we pretty much know is that Zen 3, so Ryzen 2, Zen 2, Ryzen 3rd generation, 3000 series, whatever you... How do you make it to the 3rd generation and already F up your naming scheme?
Right.
Seriously.
Ryzen XX12 something. I don't remember what it is anymore.
Right. Was it so hard to call it the Ryzen 1620?
Yeah.
And 1620X because they were a slight fab drop from 14 to 12 nanometer, Zen Plus architecture, and then all of a sudden you have Zen 2000 for Zen 2. Would that have been so hard?
Just put the year it came out. Just put the year it came out. That's all I need. Or something like that. Make it really simple.
Yeah. Anyway, so we already knew that Zen 2 was going to be launching in probably late June, early July.
It was July, yeah.
And the announcements are coming at Computex. And in fact, Lisa Su was getting her very first on-stage keynote at Computex, and that was big news. That is big news. So we know they're probably coming out with something. Something. We know what they're coming out with.
We know are coming out.
What we don't know is specifics. And so she's probably going to be on stage at Computex announcing specifics of the Zen processors that are launching and the timetables and all the specs and everything that you want to know.
This will be able to talk about that at the end of May.
Totally. So that's why this month's going to be a little bit quiet unless there's some leaks that kind of come out from whatever partners.
Someone tweets her speech.
Right. Quarter 3 Zen 2 architecture on Epyc Rome is going to include up to 64 cores per processor with 8-channel memory with up to 2 processors per board.
Yeah.
So up to 128 cores, 256 threads, and 16 channels of DDR4 ECC. As a server junkie, I'm just salivating. In fact, on the floor beside you is a new server chassis that I'm reviewing here next week.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. It's in a box. You can't see anything. But trust me, it looks nice.
I was like, wow, look at that great cardboard. Oh, it's not damaged. That's nice looking.
It's a big box.
It's a big box.
Anyway, that's a 2U server. So that'll be my first server chassis review coming up here shortly.
Yeah, the screws are nice. Oh, yeah, they screw in very smoothly.
Those are important things.
A lot of B-roll of like screws.
Yeah.
So sexy.
It's features and cable layout and how can you build in it and should you white box one of these and
there's so many holes for cable management. Yep. Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh.
1 RAM slot per channel and typically 16 DIMMs per socket. And so a lot of the 2U servers that are coming out with 32 DIMMs of memory. And that's not foreign to a lot of Intel boards. I have an Intel board in there with 16 DIMMs of memory on it. It's going to be 1 DIMM per channel and 16 DIMMs per board. And so 8 DIMMs per socket on those boards. On a standard ATX motherboard. I'm sure if someone comes up with a CEB or one of the weird L-shaped boards, they can probably fit 32 DIMMs on it if they really felt like it. But yeah, it's going to be 1 DIMM per channel. And I think 1.5 terabytes of memory capacity or something like that. Yeah. It's a lot.
Thing is going to fly.
It's a lot. And then Navi graphics. So like I said, the one thing that's kind of still up in the air is what are they actually coming out with, what price points, and are they going to have hardware ray tracing? Is it going to be something that's comparable to RTX cards today? We really don't know yet, although we have a little bit of smoke kind of pointing in that direction with the PlayStation 5.
Yes, especially the PlayStation 5, that it's supposed to be kind of based off a lot of this model, and then what everyone's speculating for the PlayStation 5. So now again, this still goes back to we don't know if it's going to have ray tracing or not, but we kind of get hints of what the specs will be, what it can do for the gaming, what it can do for video graphics and everything like that. So it's gonna be interesting. I think some of it will probably come out in Computex though.
Yes.
We'll probably get a much better definitive answer, which actually might lead to more PlayStation leaks too. Surprisingly, or more speculations. That was a weird noise. I don't know if you guys heard that, but
I think someone like dropped a ramp off a trailer. Or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
Spring. All right, but yeah, cool.
Yep. If you clear your DNS cache at 11:59:59 on December 31st, you get a lot of New Year's resolutions. Are you proud of that joke? Gosh. Yeah, someone said falling ladder. Could have been. It sounded like a ramp off the back of a trailer.
Yeah, it sounded like there was some spring tires.
Yeah.
There was obviously some reverb.
Little pushback.
Yeah.
So, AsRock, continuing the tradition of pretty much the coolest ITX boards on the planet, has announced
sexiest looking.
Has announced a Mini-ITX LGA 3647 motherboard. Check
this baby out.
So if you're wondering, that picture is almost actual size, depending on the monitor that you're looking at. On my 27-inch, it's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
But scroll down a little further, John. That's a Mini-ITX board. That's it.
That's right here.
That bad boy right there.
Oh.
40% of the face of this motherboard is taken up by that 3647 LGA socket.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of I/O because there's not room for a lot of I/O. You have a VGA port. You have two 1 gigabit Ethernet ports. Unfortunately, they're not 10 gig.
That's weird.
AsRock, the one thing I will slam you for is your inclusion of dual 1 gig. Give me a single 10 gig and save the room on your board. Seriously, just do that. You have a perfect motherboard here. I use their X299 ITX board at work. I built one of those with 64 gigs of RAM in a Shift X, or no, just the Evolve Shift. So it's the single 120 mil tall ITX box. It's an amazing board, but I really, really want 10 gig out of it. And I can't have it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And only 2 USB 3.0 ports. Everything else is done via headers. So definitely an interesting board. Now, this does sport up to full compatibility with Intel Xeon scalable processors up to 205 watts. So that is your locked Intel processors that are typically your server-based SKUs. And you can run those at full speed pretty much indefinitely. Yeah. If you remember, it's the Xeon, the Xeon W3175X, which is their 28-core unlocked CPU. That's a 255 watt TDP. And this is a board that only has a single 8-pin EPS header on it. So there's only a max of like 200 watts coming in addition to the motherboard pins.
So can it handle all that?
That's a really good question. What they said is that you can run the W3175X on this board. However, it won't boost properly since it only has a 255 watt TDP. It would end up hitting power limit on the board pretty quickly under load. This board does feature a full 6-phase by 2 power controller, power circuitry on it.
So that's nice.
So pretty decent power controller for the size of this board. And in theory, you can run all 28 cores, all 56 threads. But you're not going to get full boost speed out of it.
So you're all at stock speed.
Regardless of the limitations of this board, it's some pretty sweet engineering to have a socket that has another, basically, footprint of that socket as a motherboard.
Yeah.
Like I said, the 3675 socket, or 3643, what is the name of that socket? 3647 socket.
Another name.
Come up with a better name, Intel. Socket M. the socket takes up 40% of the face of this motherboard.
Yeah.
Has a single PCIe X16 slot for graphics cards or other peripherals. Has dual 1 gig NICs. Again, I'm a little down on the 1 gig NICs.
Other than that part,
it's also a little bit gimped on memory.
Well, you only got
because this is a six channel memory processor. Okay. It's only got 4 DIMMs.
That's not that. Yeah.
So there's some limitations.
There are some, but essentially though, you can have this sweet little box. Mm-hmm. Essentially, this right here, it cranking out some power.
Yeah.
I mean, it can pretty much do media servers, your home entertainment system, almost anything you really want.
Oh, this could
do gaming.
This could do full workstation tasks.
Yes,
and that's really what it's designed for.
Well, but think of the space saving.
Yeah.
This could do.
Right.
It is really what I think of.
And that's precisely why at work I built myself a Fantex Shift with an ITX X299 board. Yeah. I wanted 8 cores and whatnot into a pretty small box. Now this was right at the beginning of Ryzen coming out, and I went, Ryzen, I think I'm going to go Intel instead. I think this was like midsummer or something like that a couple years ago after the Ryzen 1700 had launched. And Intel just had a track record of a workstation class system, and so that's what I went with. Interesting.
Yeah, no, I would love to see something like this though on the consumer end market of like pre-built stuff.
Right.
Something like this on this end of the $800, $900, even $1,000 high end pre-made stuff would be fantastic.
Well, this board is going to be $400 by itself.
Yeah,
minimum. Well, I think the $299 board is $400. This one might be $500 or $550.
I was really hoping. I didn't see a price point on this.
Yeah, neither did I.
I was hoping for like the $350 is really what I was hoping for.
No, it's not going to be $350.
I was hoping.
I know you were hoping.
I'm hoping with stretch of techology. And
the
parts.
The X299 ITX was $450.
Well, competitive price would drop $100 per year.
That's a good thought, John.
I was hoping to trade my big tower to this tiny little box. It doesn't heat up my room.
Yep.
It's a nice, quiet little box.
Yep.
Just hit a little button.
Oh, like my little Inwin back there?
Oh, back there? Yeah. No.
We'll keep
something like that.
Yeah. I love that little box. That's got 6 cores.
He just can't feed it at night.
Yeah.
Or else it turns into a gun.
A long way.
Yeah. That would be an interesting boot up noise. Would be the Mogwai. Yeah, or like the Mogwai song.
Yeah. Bye, Billy. Did we take it too far?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just. Oh, that could be the logout noise.
Yeah. All right. On the gaming news.
Well, yeah, that's it for tech news.
Yep.
Like we said earlier, not a whole lot.
Yep.
Slow week. John, it's Intel.
It's Intel. It's Intel. They hate good names.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, gaming.
Reverend, $5. Happy birthday, John.
Thanks, sir. That'll buy me a Bud Light. Thanks, Reverend.
Discovery Logger.
Hey, if I can find one.
Yeah.
Problem is how it's going to Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the donation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to me.
It's like, wait a second here. Jeff is reaping off of my birthday.
Donate to John right now.
It's like, what? Mm-mm.
So I can pay for this beer he's about to drink.
What are you talking about? I gave you that beer. Everything here other than that cocktail, I paid for.
Yeah. This was still more.
I don't know.
How much was that?
$25.
Okay. How much is that?
I bought a case, so that commercially, this is about 20. So you're 45 here.
Okay.
And
so outside of the cucumber, we're even.
Okay. I'm still above you.
Yeah.
That's a $45 bottle?
Worth it. Worth it.
I don't know.
This is a good gin.
It's a good. I didn't know if I would experiment with that though.
I've reached the point with cocktails where I will buy specialty stuff to experiment with.
So that came back to my point of the conversation earlier that we had during the Blazer game of like money versus
money versus quality.
Money versus quality.
Yeah, and that's always it's a sliding scale.
Yeah. So
Rev says no Bud Light. You'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
I could buy 5 Bud Lights with that amount.
It's true.
So
it's true. Buy a couple bombers with that.
Yeah, right. Do I buy quantity or do I just buy a single quality?
Yeah, I think you know what Reverend.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with quality.
That's right.
Quantity.
Yeah, quantity. How quickly can I get drunk for $5?
Yes.
All right, gaming news. So this has been kind of going around, and I think it's starting to come to a head. Now we know, was it Belgium? I believe was the first to outlaw.
Yeah, it was someplace in Europe.
Yeah.
I don't remember quite what country, but
Bavaria, Belgium.
It was about a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
maybe.
It was right after Battlefront 2 came out.
Yeah, something like that. So, and that whole debacle.
Right. So, U.S. senators have introduced a bill to ban loot boxes and pay-to-win microtransactions. Basically, what they're doing is they're trying to introduce legislation that would prohibit makers of games from taking advantage of kids when it came to microtransactions and loot boxes and that kind of thing. Yeah. Because we know those are endorphin pumping transactions. They're not beneficial to the game outside of like pay to win, but pay to win is still just an endorphin thing. But microtransactions are playing off of essentially addiction.
Yeah.
Very similar mechanics to gambling. Now you can argue, well, loot boxes aren't gambling. Right, but they're playing off the same psyche in your brain.
Idea of that, yeah, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to have X, I'm going to get...
Maybe I'll get lucky this time.
Maybe I'll get lucky this time, and I'm going to get that melee weapon I've always wanted, and I'm going to be the coolest person on the field.
Right.
Or I'm going to get the lightsaber or the mace or whatever, this cool cloak, helmet, hat.
Right.
Limited edition hat that I can turn around and sell for more. Right. Or I want to wear.
And the problem with this doesn't come with the fact that they're doing this. I think in and of themselves, I disagree with the business practice, but at the same time, if they want to make money that way, they're more than welcome to. If there are people willing to pay, fine. The point of contention is, for me, is when this comes to minors, is when this comes to kids and children, getting a cell phone and getting addicted to Candy Crush, which is one of the examples on here, with a $150 play pack, and skins on Fortnite and
Farmville and all those other
and all the other games, and all the other pay to play games that are pay $3 and we'll let you have an extra 30 turns. Yeah. Or you can wait 6 hours or something like that and then play again. Yeah. Those are playing off of addictive tendencies. And when you're doing that to an adult, fine, whatever. That's what gambling is. That's how slot machines and casinos make their money. Fine. If you want to do it, it's fine. It's a little shady, but it's fine. When you're doing that at a product that is specifically marketed to kids, that's not fine. And that's where I think this is trying to draw the law, or draw the line.
My only contention on this is that I'm betting. Mm-hmm. I like the way this is going. I really do. But I'm betting in the long run, it's going to be something similar to how this music industry in the late 90s went with the parental advisory sticker.
Right.
Is they're really only going to do it on games that state with the game rating system that are on there now. And
well, the Google Play Store has kind of preempted this because, and so has Apple, because on every single application that you click on, it will say includes in-app purchases.
Yes.
And so they're trying to preempt this as a storefront and as a marketplace that, hey, just a warning, your one-time purchase on this or the fact that this is free doesn't mean this is free and this is the only thing you'll ever pay.
Yes, but I mean, it's so...
It's still crap.
It's still crap. And in all honesty, too, a lot of times when parents are doing that, they're just like, yeah, here, click. Who reads, the terms and conditions and looks through all that? And it's disguised in the font with everything else.
Dad, what's your password? Okay.
Exactly. I have you're in a stressful mode. You're trying to do something, and your son or daughter's like, can you just give this to me? I'll shut up right now. Okay, here you go. And then they're like, click, 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 and it's charged to your phone bill.
Yep.
You know, that's pretty much what happens. I understand the adult, what you're saying, and when an adult does it, it's his own thing, it's his own account. That's where I think they're going to probably start saying is you can't do it to games that are rated for minors. And
right,
you can only add. But then those games are going to get downloaded more.
Right. The language in this is when games are designed for kids, game developers shouldn't be allowed to monetize addiction, Holly says in the press release. And when kids play games designed for adults, they should be walled off from compulsive microtransactions. Game developers who knowingly exploit children should face legal consequences. And I fully agree with that statement.
I agree with that, but it's still... I agree with the statement. I agree with the message that they're trying to do. Although I think the only way they're going to agree on anything is similar to, we're going to slap a sticker on it, and it's going to be parental advisory, and a bigger, this has microtransactions in it. That's all it's probably going to come down to.
Right.
I personally feel that's all it's going to do. Does it help? Probably not, because for the music industry, that type of thing, that increased sales because those little kids... Yeah. People see that and like, oh, what's this?
Oh, I'm not supposed to have this.
I'm not supposed to have this. I'm going to do it. I already know mom and dad's password.
Right.
Click, click, click. You know, I hope it does. I hope it doesn't do the same thing that history, so it repeats itself. I really don't. But...
Who didn't get really excited walking through Target and looking at the CDs and going, "Oh, there's a
parental advisory sticker," and then the person behind the counter is only 16 or 17, and they'll let me go and buy it because I'm 13.
Right.
Exactly. I did it.
Yeah. I go to your school.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is a little different because there's possible credit card transactions or click the messages, but a lot of kids don't care about that. They're just trying to get to the next level, trying to upgrade whatever equipment they're having, so when they start to play a game with their friends, and if they're 3 months behind, they go buy the armor, they go buy all the extra packages to match their friends who might have had parents that said, no, you have to spend the 90 hours to upgrade your character manually.
This is horse armor all over again.
So, or maybe we just teach our kids not to play video games at that young of an age.
Or not to spend money on frivolous things.
Yeah. So,
the bill has been introduced. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Or kids love stick and mud.
That's right. That's right.
An imagination is much more powerful than a video game.
Do we have any pictures of this? God, I hope we have pictures of this. Yes, we do. Okay.
Yeah, they're still up.
So if you scroll, you click on that article.
This
there
one?
You go. Yeah. So we all saw the trailer, right?
Yes.
We all saw the trailer. So
if you're on Jeff's Discord, we all saw the trailer. It was a big discussion on Jeff's Discord. Yeah. And if you haven't joined Jeff's Discord, it's a phenomenal community. It's a minimum of $1 a month. You can always do more, but we have lots of different channels, and one of them is a movie and TV channel.
Yes.
It is Star Trek titled, but it's essentially all about...
The Discord is Star Trek themed.
Yes. But all the channels are... Lots of different channels. Cars, techs, music. But we do have one that is entertainment oriented.
Right.
And one of the big news of last week was the Sonic
trailer.
It's the Sonic trailer. If you haven't seen it, oh my God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But you probably have if you're watching this show. So,
oh my God, turn it off. It hurts my eyes. I apologize.
Basically, yeah. So you're about
Viewer discretion advised.
Really? Yeah, you're about to be warned right now. So, do you want to show it?
We already did. It was on the screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so bad. If you know anything about Sonic, classic Sega Genesis gaming...
They should have learned from the outcry that came from the silhouette from the teaser poster they released months ago.
There was even leaked posters that were like, no, please, dear God, don't let this be this.
Right. So the reason it's so bad is it is so far off from what Sonic the Hedgehog was. Sonic is a 20-plus year established character in the universe. 25 years old.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's almost... I really stretched
92?
but almost as iconic as Mario.
Right. They tried to make it as iconic as Mario.
It was the Sega of Mario.
It was the Mario of Sega.
Mario of Sega.
Right. I got into an interesting discussion, and I don't remember where at. It might have been on Discord. It might have been me and Rhett talking about it after hours last week. The reason Sonic is not as iconic as Mario is, number one, Mario beat him to the punch by 10 years or so.
83?
83, 82 maybe, for the Mario Brothers arcade game.
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong, and then later on in
Super
85
Mario.
got his own feature game.
Basically the console.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't until, I believe, 92 that Sonic came on.
92, 93 is what I would say, yeah.
Ish. Now, Sonic was to the Sega Genesis what Mario was to the Super Nintendo, but they missed him by an entire generation as far as game consoles go. And the first three Sonic games were amazing, and then Sonic and Knuckles was great, and then on the Game Gear they had a couple great games, and they had a couple good spin-off games.
Yeah.
There was Sonic Spinball and a couple others. And then they just kind of lost the plot.
Well, then there was like the Saturn came out, or Sonic 3D, and it was like, this isn't as good. It's not as the graphics.
It didn't translate as well.
They were really trying to do a Mario 64 thing, and just no, this doesn't. But still include that Sonic run and go.
Right.
It just didn't work.
But then they also put Sonic in everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Sonic wasn't getting the foothold that Mario was getting. So Mario can be in a tennis game and an Olympics game and a Mario Kart and do all these other things, and Mario Paint and whatnot. Sonic didn't have that cachet. And so when they tried to put him in these things, it felt forced and it felt disingenuous and it just felt weird.
Yeah.
And also Sonic didn't translate to the 3D space, like you said with the Sonic and the Saturn and Sega 32. He didn't translate well into those higher end systems. And so what we're left with was a really good run of about 7 years where Sonic was really, really good, and then kind of a meh. Like, it was good, but it's not anymore.
Yeah.
But they kept on trying, and so I remember having a Game Gear, and I had Sonic Labyrinth, and I went, "Oh, this is gonna be cool. It's like a maze game." It was terrible. It was a terrible game.
Yeah.
And think of all the terrible games that have come out since. I think there's one good Sonic game to come out in the last 15 years, like one.
Can't even remember, because there's been quite a few, especially when Nintendo bought the rights or got the rights, and even then those were pretty bad.
Yeah. But anyway, so Sonic doesn't have the cachet that Mario has. Now, I will say, I'm probably going to enjoy the Sonic movie a lot better than I enjoyed the Mario movie.
I don't know. So I had that discussion kind of with Steve the other day.
Yeah. Which one's going to be the worst movie?
Well, no, there was that, but it was more of... So if you watch the trailer... There's the particular main actor, and I don't know his name, but he's been in Man of Steel. He was Cyclops in X-Men, the Fox versions, the original first three. But he did a similar movie called Hops, all about a 3D Easter Bunny, and it's essentially the exact same movie. And I went back and watched
I'd completely forgotten about that.
I went and watched back the Hop trailer. I'm like, other than like, once they start introducing the human characters, like, these two trailers are the same. Right. And I was like, the story plot is essentially the same, where this creature comes back, or comes out of nowhere, meets this human.
He's an alien.
He's an alien, yeah. And then this one is a Easter Bunny. He gets freaked out right away. And then now they're pals. And they're trying to figure out what to do with everything. And then they have to go save something, major. So they have to go save Easter. Now they have to go save the Earth.
Right.
It's the same movie. It's the same actor. He has the same facial expressions as he acted. So it just made this movie feel even worse. Will it be... Here's why Mario will be better. Super Mario Brothers will be better. It's so iconically bad. This will be better because of that. This will be laughable. This will just be horribly stupid.
This is gonna be one of Jim Carrey's worst movies. And that's saying something for his last 10 or 15 years worth of movies.
It is. Oh, yeah. Well, they were saying, like, so the last scene in the trailer, you see him shave his head. Right. And he's the...
And he's got the...
Yeah, he has the iconic look.
Right.
He's not the big guy, but he's bald, got the big mustache. They said they had to do that in the reshoots.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to do that with him.
Yeah.
So
they wanted him to be the greasy scientist politician.
Yeah, it's just everything about this movie looks horrible.
Yeah.
There's that one redeeming factor, though, that they are stating they are going to spend probably quite a bit of money trying to fix it.
Right. And to their credit, they said, we're going to fix this. They said, we effed up Sonic the Hedgehog's mammal son. Jeff Fowler actually tweeted out, "Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this the best character they can and the best movie it can be. Hashtag Sonic movie. Hashtag gotta fix fast."
Yeah. There's been a couple of fan art adaptions that actually have been looking like, if they just did that,
right,
I could get behind this movie.
If they kept it true to the character, it'd be fine.
It'd be fine. It would be such a cash grab for kids.
Right.
And that's what this movie really is all about.
Right.
It's a cash grab for kids. It's not about the movie being good. It's about the merchandise. Merchandise is what's going to make this movie money. Mm-hmm. And if you change the iconic character, that means you have to change the mold. That means all the molding. Right. You have to go and change... you might have to change video games and create a new one to have this iconic character be that way. Where'd you get... Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Forget which one I clicked on. Scroll down.
I didn't see it.
Click on the Sonic one.
Oh, no, it's that one.
Yeah. Scroll down a little more. And it's in the... There we go. So some of the fan adaptations have been pretty darn decent.
Pretty good. Now,
it's like, it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much. If they did this, got rid of the human-looking legs...
Yeah. Don't make it look like a 6-year-old in a furry suit.
Yeah, that's really kind of what it looks like. And if they did that, make the hands a little bigger and the eyes a little bigger, boom, you're done.
And the torso smaller and the legs absurdly long. You need to keep his proportions. That's all you need to keep. And the eyes. The eyes are the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't give him human eyes, and for God's sakes, don't give him human teeth.
No.
Oh, God.
That was a pretty bad...
That was the worst part of the whole trailer.
He has, like, veneer.
Yeah.
He has these perfectly veneers on. It's like, oh. Yeah.
He has better teeth than I do.
Just give him some animal teeth, and then when he smiles, they're flat. You know, something those cartoonish characters type of thing. You know. But yeah, this right here would be so much better.
Yeah. Anyway, that's actually not the news that came up this week, because that's already been hashed out. What came up was the director of photography for the Pokemon movie, for Detective Pikachu. Had some thoughts on this movie, on the Sonic movie, because he was actually offered the DP position for Sonic the Hedgehog, and he turned it down because he was afraid it was going to turn out something like this. But he goes... that John Matheson is the guy's name. He worked on Gladiator, Logan, and now he's the DP for the Detective Pikachu movie.
And I think those CGIs are a lot... I know they're CGI, but they look really true to the characters of Pokemon. Yeah. I could see them they're slightly changed, but I could see that being like, oh, that's the real creature in here.
It's okay to normalize something. It's not okay to change the entire caricature of what it is.
Yes.
Or make it a caricature of what it's supposed to be.
Yes. No. These... He kind of called them out.
Right. Well, he called them out because he goes, how could you get something so wrong? But he goes, if we're all talking about how these two films look, our film is better than Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm sorry, I don't care who's upset by saying that now, Matheson said. He credits the difference in the decision to shoot Detective Pikachu on film rather than digitally, granting his CG monstrosities a richness and depth of color that the Sonic movies apparently lacked. Now, I'm not sure I buy that they were shot in film so the CG is better as an argument. I think it's just more of a creative mindset going into it. I will say, and I've heard this before, CG has made a lot of filmmakers really lazy.
Yes.
It's made a lot of directors of photography and a lot of directors kind of lazy in the way they're setting up their shots. They're not following the rules of cinematography.
Well, it kind of makes the cameraman, the cinematographer, basically like, I can't tell your artistry how you set this shot up.
Right.
It's pointless because, I'll just add light in this here. digitally later.
And I'm not talking everything filmed on a green screen. You can do some amazing work on a green screen. Look at the Harry Potter films.
Look at what is it? Wolf of Wall Street. Most of that's actually green screen.
Right. You can do some amazing stuff, but you still have to follow what the rules or interpretations or what you still have to film what you're trying to get.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you can't fix it in post. You can kind of fake it, but it doesn't work. So what he's saying is that they shot on film for Detective Pikachu, and so it's a much more natural feeling film. It's not as digitally retouched as Sonic is. But the thing is, the characters feel like they're supposed to be part of the world. And if you look at movies like Solo was... I loved Solo personally. And most of the feeling is kind of meh. It's not their favorite Star Wars movie in the world, but everyone kind of goes, it was an okay movie.
I was fine with it, yeah.
I love the cinematography in Solo because it felt very natural, and that's because with Star Wars, I think, learned their lesson in the prequels. Don't rely on digital magic.
Yeah.
You can use it, but don't make it your shot. Don't have it to be 90% of your shot.
Yeah.
The camera and actors are still things, and they need to be treated as such.
Yeah, just because you're in a studio, don't have every single shot in a studio on a set. Go out to the real world, go out to a real thing, have real lighting, and then build off of that.
Totally.
Have your light source already pre-made, but not digitally, and then work off of that pre-made light source.
Right. Rogue One and Solo were both filmed on location with
practical
effects. Thank you. Practical. With practical effects. Every single thing. BB-8 is a real moving robot that they interact with on stage.
Was it the Road Warrior or what was that one? Tom Hardy just did a remake of Mel Gibson's movies.
Yeah, Road Warrior.
Mad Max. All of that was all...
It was all practical.
All practical. I mean, the background, the tornado is not practical, but yeah.
The guy riding on with the
face mask and the
face
guitar.
Mask and the guitar and the
doing that.
He did that for 12 hours a day for like 6 weeks.
And how awesome was that looking? It wasn't just him
And by the way, he's blind when he does that.
Yeah.
So he shot 12 hours a day for 6 weeks blind with a flamethrower guitar and played on the top of a moving car.
Yeah.
And you know why it looks good? It's because he freaking did it.
Yeah.
It's because it wasn't digitally imposed.
It wasn't just him on some wires pretending to do it, and they put, they mapped his face to put the mask on there. No, it was on him.
Right.
That's why it looked good.
Right. And so filmmaking is still an art, and there's still something to be said for practical effects in filmmaking. And I think what John Matheson's point is we used a lot of practical effects. Now, obviously, the characters are still very digital.
3D
very
digital.
digital.
Yeah.
But we shot on film, and when you're shooting on film, you have to rely on your practical application of what you're shooting.
Yeah.
And that's something I think Sonic lost. Now, they also lost in the design process, but he thinks Detective Pikachu is going to be an amazing movie, whereas he thinks Sonic, because they relied a lot on digital effects, is going to fall a little short.
Yeah. No, well, there was already early reviews of Detective Pikachu, and they're saying it's a decent movie. It's a very kid-friendly movie. And your parents can go there. Ryan Reynolds, I think, has a very great sense of humor to
love Ryan Reynolds.
Balance that parent and adult humor for kids. He can really do
go into Bugs Bunny levels.
Yes,
he does that very well.
He really does that. They were saying that there's so much B-roll of Detective Pikachu of him that they could make it a rated R version if they really wanted to. There's so many outtakes, so many different takes that Ryan Reynolds did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very clean. I think they're going to clean up not on this, but their merch.
Yeah.
The merch is just going to sell because I think they did the Pikachu character very well. They stayed true to the character. It looks like a real life version of the Pikachu character. Whereas the Sonic, you almost do feel like it's just a CGI effect sitting next to you and the guy's looking at just some green blob.
Speaking of
CGI
mistakes made in large production movies, so Game of Thrones had a little bit of a faux pas on HBO's release of episode 4, season 8 of Game of Thrones. Apparently, Daenerys is a latte fan.
Yeah. Apparently she likes that winter macchiato.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking for the tweet of who said it. God, there was a great one where they like wrote her name on the side of the cup, and it was Mother of Dragons.
At least
the first of her.
The first of her kind.
The first of her name.
Yeah, first of her name, and the drinker of macchiato.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That was great. Anyway, HBO has since cleaned up the mug. It will no longer appear in episode 4. So if you stream it now, the mug is gone.
Yeah.
But it was a mistake that was made in production.
It was probably foamed with Giant's milk.
Yeah. How do you get milk from a giant?
I don't know. So as soon as I saw that episode, I wanted to go immediately and go find Dragon's Milk and have the title be "Screw Dragon's Milk, I have Giant's Milk." Giant's Milk's Giant's Milk Stout.
Yeah. Screw Dragon's Milk. Yeah.
Screw Dragon's Milk. I got Giant's Milk Stout.
I think she would drink Dragon's Milk.
Probably.
She would drink Dragon's Milk. So yeah, if you go and watch episode 4, it's edited out at this point.
It's gone.
But it's a funny little thing that happened.
It'll always be out there. I'm sure it'll be in the DVD. Like, hey, here's the bonus feature scene.
Yep.
You know.
Oh my God! Yes, please let an R-rated Detective Pikachu exist.
Right, I would
pay money to see a swearing Pikachu.
I would.
They did a PG-rated version of Deadpool. I want to see R-rated Pikachu.
Right? Oh my gosh, so much money would be made. That would make more money than the PG one.
Yes, it would.
It would be fantastic.
It totally would. And then would love to see Pikachu swearing. I totally want to see it.
Right?
Totally want to see it. And in our last story of the day, Microsoft provides examples of acceptable trash talk for gamers on Xbox Live.
Speaking of Pikachu PG versus
Hey, fellow kids!
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This was bad.
I'm just going to scroll straight down to the acceptable trash talk
here it is.
Going a little bit too far.
Oh my gosh.
Acceptable trash talk includes, get destroyed. Can't believe you thought you were on my level. That was some serious potato aim. Get wrecked. Only reason you went positive. Sorry, I can't even read these because they don't even make sense. Only reason you went positive was you spent all game camping. Try again, kid. Cheap win. Come at me when you actually drive without running cars off the road. And that sucked. Get good and come back when your KD is over 1.
I'm actually kind of surprised they said the word sucked.
Yeah. Well, I said sucked.
Right?
Yeah.
But yet you can't say you sucked.
Right. Going too far. I don't know what they mean by this first one at all. It doesn't even fit.
This one doesn't even make sense.
F.
Okay.
Get effed. Okay. Get effed. Can't believe you thought you were on my level. So apparently swearing is...
Well, it doesn't even say...
It says get sexual threat.
Yeah, that's what I was... That's so stupid.
Get sexual threat. Can't believe you thought you were on my level. Hey, profanity. That was some serious potato aim. Get wrecked. Trash. Only reason you went positive was because you spent all game camping. KYS kid. What is KYS?
Kiss your sister?
Kill yourself.
Oh.
Kill yourself.
I can...
Kill yourself, kid. Cheap win. Totally expected from racial slur.
I know what that is, yeah.
Yeah. Totally expected from a cracker. I can say cracker.
Yeah, wheat thin.
Yeah, wheat thin. Get wrecked, wheat thin.
You suck.
You suck. Get out of my country. Maybe then you'll get back. Maybe they'll let you back when your KD is over 1. So get out of my country, you foreigner.
The thing is, though, I want to know, is it acceptable for me to say get/sexually threat? Can't believe if I literally said just that.
Right.
Is that acceptable?
I think that's the new thing.
I think we
can go somewhere.
That's how I'm going to start trash talking.
That's right.
Sexual threat. This is basically Mad Libs.
Yeah.
For trash talking.
Hey, sexual orientation.
You're not allowed in my country anymore. Racial slur. Insert here.
Go back to place of origin.
Adjective.
Exactly. I see a loophole. This screams hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
They could just say no swearing, no profanity, no...
Right, no slurs, no...
Yeah.
Anything, just, do that. Instead of giving blatant examples of, like, this was, like, some kid IT guy trying to say, what would my mom say?
Right.
And, okay, here we go.
Well, my teenager says this at home.
Yes, exactly. And the person writing this is their kid probably at home, or they say it too. It's like, I say so much worse than this online.
I'm pretty sure my stepmother has a worse mouth than I do.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure.
No,
I'm pretty sure. And you know what? I trust her, because I don't trust people who don't swear. I don't. I don't trust you. You will lie straight to my face, and I have no way of knowing otherwise.
Yeah.
If you're swearing at me, I know you're telling the truth.
There's a little bit of honesty. There's a little bit of stress relief. I actually believe I read an article about that. Like, you have to, if you swear so much or get angry so much, just a little bit, like, it releases endorphins and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it actually makes you feel better.
Right.
There was one that I said that if you use the F word like 30 times a day, your intelligence spectrum is so much higher.
I'm probably pretty close to that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
I waste 20 on traffic. I will say.
Right? So if I just say...
I will say get F'd at least like 3 times on my drive.
Oh, I know. We were driving to the Blazer game and you were like 2-3 times. That's like, jeez. And then you yelling at the Nuggets half the time.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I don't drink when I go to comedy shows, is because I will heckle. Yeah. I am that guy. I don't like being that guy either. But
three cocktails in, Jeff's is all confident.
That's right.
I got this.
Strutting. I can take Jokic.
Let me in, coach. I got this.
That's right.
Sub me in. Just call me 000.
I could shoot 40% from 3 with no one guarding me.
Well, that's better than his 3-throw.
Probably not in an arena. My depth perception's off, coach. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, 9:27. We are out of news.
That's right when we said.
That's it. Yeah, pretty much an hour to the mark. I think we're like 3 minutes late. What do you guys want to talk about? And while we're doing that, we should Rochambeau for beer.
Okay.
So 2 out of 3?
2 out of 3. Okay. Yours, mine?
Yeah.
Technically, they're both mine.
So basically, winner drinks the other person's beer. How's that?
So I want to win.
You want to win, so you drink my Firestone, and I want to win, so I drink this, and I take this back to my fridge.
This isn't Fire. This is Fremont.
Or Fremont.
It's Fremont.
Okay.
Fremont.
Sorry.
This is better than Firestone.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you win, we drink this, and you take this home.
Okay.
If I win, we drink the Pirate Stout, and I take this back to my fridge.
I don't care because I already have another one of these at home,
Right.
and I have another one of those.
I know you do.
So either way, I win.
Either way, John wins. So best 2 out of 3. So 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Okay, 4th shoot.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Tie.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot. Boom. 1.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot. 2.
It'll be like
2 out of 3.
Oh yeah, all right.
We're drinking Pirate Stout, baby.
All right, whatever. You open it.
We have had this one before. This is the 2016 vintage Sanny M Brewing barrel-aged coconut Pirate Stout. It is the Governor's Reserve Pirate Stout. Correct?
Yes, it is 2016 vintage. Actually.
Yeah. I said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 2016 vintage Governor's Reserve Pirate Stout. It is an 11.5% barrel-aged.
Double barrel-aged.
Double barrel-aged. Yeah.
It's rum and whiskey.
Yeah.
Careful on that. There is, I did check, sediment at the bottom.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I poured this one before.
So.
There we go. Get the wax off of there.
Yeah, no, I got a screaming deal on a box of this back in 2016. $100 for a box.
Yeah.
A box of 12. So essentially it was buy 5, get 2 free.
$8 a bottle.
Yeah, something like that.
And these are $22 bottles typically.
Yeah, about 20 to 22 bucks.
Yeah.
I think that year was like 22 bucks, and now they sell for modern vintage sell for about 19 bucks.
18, 19 is what I see them for. Yeah. So yeah, this is an amazingly good stout.
Yep.
By a local brewery here in Salem, Oregon. So
Hashtag not sponsored yet.
Hashtag not sponsored, but Sandy Am, I'd be willing. There we go.
Ooh, still nice and good.
I can smell it already. And you know what I was doing during Rochambeau? I was playing the player, not the game. What is John going to throw next? And I nailed you
I
twice.
saw a delay.
I threw you twice in a row.
I saw a delay is what I saw.
Nope. Because I picked before I threw. I picked before I started 1, 2, 3. I knew what you were going to do. Oh, that smells good.
Oh, yeah.
Cherry, chocolate.
That does actually evolve into more of a cherry chocolate.
I can smell cherries from here.
Even though there's not cherry in it.
Right. A little head on this. There we go. Look at that.
I gave you... Oh, there's lots of more coconut.
Oh, wow.
I'll take the sediment.
Beer was vintage but bottled in 2016. Yeah, it was bottled in 2016, and we've been aging it for...
Yeah. And actually, they brewed it in 15.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was already aged for a year on there and in the barrels.
Yeah.
And then I bought it in 16.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock is what we should have done.
We should have done that.
We should have done the lizard and Spock.
Or, yeah.
All right.
Oh, the coconut. Actually, so we had this almost about a year ago on the show. This was the first beer I brought on the show.
Yes, it was. So episode 2, I think we had this.
Yeah, episode 2 we had this, and I think we brought it on another time.
Yeah. I know we've had the regular Pirate Stout on once or twice, and I think this is maybe the second or third appearance of the Governor's Reserve.
Governor's, and it might, but the coconut, I remember the very, very first one, episode 2.
Yeah.
It was just very sweet. Didn't have taste a whole lot of coconut.
The coconut is strong.
Very strong on this. A lot more than I remember.
Yeah.
Like the back end is basically coconut.
Totally.
It's basically coconut.
Oh, that is so good.
It's just roasty coconut. Very good. Like
I played b-ball in college. Even small crowds are hard to keep from choking. I played a little bit in high school, and yeah, that's true. Although I played some of my best games in high school.
Yeah, I played in high school.
And then I played a couple leagues after high school. Played with a bunch of friends afterwards and whatnot. Did some... I was never very good.
No.
I'm a pretty decent jump shooter, and I can drive so long as I have a straight line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a damn good passer.
Yeah,
play me on the pick and roll. I will pick you apart.
Yeah, no, I was a defensive player. I was basically put in for pure defense. And
I get 4 blocks a game because I can jump really high.
Well, you're also 6'4". Yeah. But the thing is, I'm a 6-foot player, and I ended up averaging like 3 steals a game.
Yeah.
So.
What's the difference between brown nosing and butt kissing? Is our first question.
The aroma.
How far in your head goes.
Yeah.
That's basically what it amounts to.
Brown nosing or butt kissing is essentially just complimentary, verbal, and brown nosing is actions.
Hey, I brought you coffee.
Yeah, it's actual actions. That would be it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd buy that. I could dunk at 5'9". I could dunk at 6'5". Before I started having a little bit of knee problems.
You guys saying that's the hoop level?
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, yeah.
I'm a baller on a 9'6" hoop.
I could do that at 5'9" too. I could dunk.
I could dunk at my peak. Not like hammer throwdowns, but I could get up in there and I could hang on it. I could throw it down.
I could touch the rim. That was about as high as I got.
Yeah, no, I could full on dunk for about a year or so. But my knees didn't like it. So, and today I can get up and I can get about halfway up the net.
yeah, I know, right?
I'm still a really good jump shooter, but yeah, not so much anymore. Might have missed it before. How do you guys feel about Epyc's tactics with their store? We've talked about this a couple times. It's crappy business practice. overall. And they're saying, we're bringing competition. No, you're bringing another outlet. You're not bringing competition because you're buying exclusivity. And exclusivity is not competition. Netflix was competition. Netflix plus ABC with their own content and NBC with their own content and Hulu with their own content. And that's not competition. That's different marketplaces.
Yeah.
If you're not competing on price, you're not competing. If you're not competing with like products, you're not competing.
Yeah.
And so they're not competing. They're buying exclusivity and they're going to charge whatever they want. So it's a crappy business practice, and in the end, the consumers lose.
Oh yeah, and it's probably going to be a really crappy OS system because it's just not going to be polished.
Yep.
It's going to probably end up being similar to Origin. Origin is horrible to download, constant drop time. I think half the time they don't even remember my password when I enter in my correct password and reset my password. It still says my password's not reset, and I have to end up waiting 24 hours for that new password to be set. There's so many stupid things I hate about it. But yeah, I'm betting Epyc's store is probably going to be very similar.
Yep. If you want customer support, well, do I have a deal for you?
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, not a fan of what Epyc's doing. I'm kind of reserving judgment until we get out there, and there have been reports in the last week that publishers are leery of selling exclusivity to Epyc because of the negative press it's been bringing as of late. So we'll see. Just cracked open an Apocalypse IPA from 10 Barrel.
Nice.
Ben Brewery, thank you.
I had one of those at the Blazer game.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I had two.
Yeah. With a sour keg.
Yeah, it was a really bad keg.
Yeah, it was not a good tap.
Not a good tap. It tasted 2-3 months old.
There was like lemongrass on top of it. And it was just...
It really just tasted stale. It tasted like half of the keg was blown or, was used, and then they waited a month, and then they retapped it.
Right.
And so it was just really bad.
Yeah, it was the bottom of an old keg.
Yeah.
So, yep, definitely not good.
And it was, $13 a pint?
Something like that, yeah. I think. Do we have any more questions? What other questions do we have?
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to talk about?
Got.
Otherwise, we're just going to start talking Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because it'll go there. It'll go there. EVGA or Seasonic? I believe EVGA has used Seasonic as an OEM in the past. Honestly, Seasonic has the name, but EVGA has some pretty darn reliable power supplies and amazing customer service. Mm-hmm. Like on their power supplies, like a no questions asked, yeah, send it in, we'll get you a replacement in like 3 days. So I like both. I'm not partial to one or the other.
What do you think about Uplay?
Uplay, not a fan of Uplay.
I wasn't a fan of Uplay either.
Yeah.
That was what Epyc was going off of, wasn't it?
No, Uplay is Ubisoft.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking, what's it called? Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed uses Uplay. Far Cry.
Yeah. No,
those games.
Don't like them either. But I usually got a lot of free games from them. Mm-hmm. So I end up having to download it anyways.
Yep.
So.
Let's see. I'm in for Trek. Cool.
Of course you are, Rev.
More Game of Thrones talk. I'm going to disappoint you because I'm only halfway through season 3.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I have 2 kids under 6. I don't get to watch a lot of adult TV.
Jeff ends up like, hey, I'm going to rewatch Star Trek.
Right.
Because it's background noise.
And I can watch that with the kids around.
Yeah.
I can't leave Game of Thrones on my screen and then have the kids walk in. And...
Come on, it's a kid-friendly show.
What are they doing? They're making kids. Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Aren't they related? Yes, they're related.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm not cut up on Game of Thrones. You could even spoil it for me, and I'm gonna forget by the time I watch it. That's how far behind.
That's okay.
I am.
Kids kill giants in Game of Thrones.
That's right. I hear Batman dies in episode 5.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
comes back though.
Yep, comes back.
Yeah.
Yep. Lich King. Have we ever played Guild Wars 1 or 2? Did you ever get into Guild Wars?
I never got into Guild Wars.
I never got into it. I did log in and play a couple of times. I think I played for about 3 months or so. I had a friend who was really into it, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if Steve probably has it.
Steve, I guarantee, played Guild Wars.
And has probably played 40 to 80 hours of it.
Yeah.
And then was like, that was me testing it. Type of a thing. So, Although, again, too, if you are interested in gaming, though, we do have the Discord. There's a whole gaming chat area.
Yep.
There's even a dedicated, or not dedicated, but a very large crowd that games together every Saturday.
Pretty much every day.
Pretty much every day. So now, again, check out Jeff's Discord. It's a if you haven't joined it, minimum $1
Links
donation.
down below.
Links down below. So check it out. It's super cool. Do it for a month. Do a trial basis. Who knows?
It helps me buy beer.
Yeah, and I get to drink it.
Let's see. Someone asked what I think of Reshade, which was a development that was adding ray tracing to depth-enabled games. I think it's a cool development, and honestly, that's where new technology often gets to shine long before newer AAA titles, is because the requirements are a lot less. The geometry isn't as intense. The shaders aren't as intense. There's Hiccup Jeff.
There's Hiccup Jeff. I was predicting he'd show up early.
Yep. I had a pre-warmer before we started.
I was gonna call it hashtag HT instead of hashtag TH.
Yeah.
For Talking Heads, it's Hiccup Jeff.
Yeah.
Or Hiccup Time. Hiccup Time.
Hiccup Time. Yeah.
Hiccup Time.
Yep. I had a Lagunitas Waldo at about 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I came in with an 11% tonight.
Yeah, he came in with a very big beer, triple beer, and an hour before the show.
It was good.
And then he starts off with, like, let's make a cocktail.
Let's have some gin. Hey, let's drink an 11.5%
stout.
Yep, 11.5.
Yeah. And here's me coming in. Hey, I got this 4% beer, Jeff. Let's have this. He's like, no, I want to get smashed.
I paid for everything here.
I did.
I bought the gin.
All right. Well, that's fine.
Let's see. Actually, the Joker is who dies, and he dies in episode 7. See? Now I can't watch it.
Screw it.
Yep.
It's over. I'm done.
Saw Digital Foundry using Reshade on Crysis, and it looked impressive. It looked good. But Crysis always looked impressive. What I want to see it on is a game that maybe had subpar shading, subpar lighting effects. I want to see what it does for that. And the thing for me is we got to try ray tracing early on with Metro Exodus, and as far as global illumination, which is really kind of like the creme de la creme of ray tracing. And it was noticeable, it was cool, but to me it wasn't night and day. I think it's the way it needs to go, but we've gotten really good at faking it. When you get the real thing, you're kind of going, okay, I guess it's better. And I think that's where we're at, is we were so good at faking global illumination, we don't notice when it's not there.
Yeah, I think that's true too. And unless we're told it's there and then shown a side-by-side comparison, we're moving so fast through the game.
Right.
We're not going to notice it. And you probably don't even have the setup to really even notice it too.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Right.
So...
GTA 4 with ray tracing, I would definitely be interested in seeing GTA 4. Going back to Liberty City. Ray trace descent should be noticeable. Ooh. You couldn't do it with descent. You would have to do it with Descent 3 might be. I think Descent 4 would probably be able to run it. With Descent 1 and 2, those were 2D graphics and not DirectX based. So, to be honest, the last season is about as bad as The Last Jedi. I've been hearing some rumblings of discontent with season 8.
Yeah, there was about a lot of big...
Because you're caught up with it.
I'm caught up with it. There was a lot of big talk about season 8 and every episode being movie quality and cliffhanger this and cliffhanger that. Yeah, it's really sounding like it's just going to be cliffhanger till the last 2 episodes.
Yep.
That's really is. Yeah, I will say episode 3, very disappointed in the quality of lighting.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised when DVD releases Blu-ray releases come out that they've adjusted for that, fixed that. But yeah, it is there's just these small chunks. So you might have much larger episodes with a small chunk of, tidbit spoilers or cool facts or character development, where early on in other seasons, it was, 58, 48-minute episodes. Mm-hmm. We're talking 128-minute episodes with the exact same amount of content. It's just it felt drawn out.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. We were used to getting an hour and 20 and you're done.
Yeah, well, we're used to getting 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And they gave you two really great, here's these two quick twists, and then someone dies.
Right.
Now it's an hour and 20 minutes.
Of course, someone dies.
And it's an hour and 20 minutes, so it's a lot longer. But you're still only getting the two twists, and one person dies. You're like,
yep.
Well, wait, that took so much longer.
Yep.
Cut half of those scenes out.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe give me 2 more episodes.
Season 8 feels like The Hobbit.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Where one story drawn out into 3 movies. Good move.
Season 8 feels like The Hobbit.
Yeah, good point.
Because The Lord of the Rings was amazing, and in fact, they left so much on the cutting room floor, it made good to release the director's cut, which is 13 and a half hours.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The whole thing is amazing. Now, it gets to be a little bit drawn out on the director's cut, but it's not that bad. With The Hobbit, you feel like they started drawn out, and if you watch the Tolkien cut, where they basically kick Legolas to the curb, he has a cameo in the Tolkien cut.
Yeah.
And you do a couple other things, and you fix some of the dialogue, and you cut out the scenes that don't mean anything, and all of a sudden it's a 2.5 hour movie, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
By the way, download the Tolkien cut. Don't download the Tolkien cut, because that'd be illegal.
Yeah.
But download the Tolkien cut.
I mean, if you have a friend that's already done it, see if you can get him to give it to you. So you... It's on my Netflix. All right. It's gonna be on
Did we see the Windows terminal announcement? Yes! Linux is coming to Windows natively.
I didn't see that.
There's a native Linux kernel that is going to be integrated into the Windows terminal.
Ooh.
Using Ubuntu, they've already been using the Ubuntu kernel natively. And they've already integrated some tools such as OpenSSH and Bash into the shell. Now you're getting full-fledged Linux inside of the shell of Windows.
Ooh,
which is cool.
That is...
Yeah.
If I knew more about Linux, I'd be even more excited.
I have used this already in the last release, in the version 1 release of this, the WSL version 1. Definitely interested in seeing what the beta release brings, if it's full integrated Linux. I do like the native SSH client that's inside of the terminal right now. I've used that quite frequently, both work and personally. And it can only mean good things coming forward. Skull, I do enjoy PowerShell, though. Who actually enjoys PowerShell? I think PowerShell is a necessity that we all learned, but I hate PowerShell. It's powerful, I'll give it that, but it doesn't make any sense. Nothing about PowerShell makes sense from a learning and application perspective. It's a cool tool, but it sucks. Well, no, it doesn't suck.
It's just annoying.
Yeah.
It's
the BMW of shells. When it's running right, oh god, that baby purrs and that sound is amazing and all my work is done.
But then
at 8,000 miles, you're in the mechanic going, why am I in limp mode? Well, see, this little cotter pin right here came out, and so we have to replace your transmission, and it's going to be $17,000.
Yep.
That's what PowerShell is.
Those first 5,000 miles, it's working phenomenal.
Yep. Bet they're going to move from the NT kernel to Linux kernel for Windows. They may eventually head that direction. My biggest criticism of Windows has been the fact that they still have Windows 3.0 code inside of the Windows shell today. Mm-hmm. Is they've tried so hard for backwards compatibility that it's actually been a hindrance to moving forward. Mac, to its credit, hasn't dwelled on that for too much. They said, you know what? If you're not within the last 7 years, we're not going to count you.
Yeah.
And Windows still has code running from 1992.
Oh, yeah.
And even further back. They have 16-bit code running inside of 64-bit Windows.
Yeah, but I think they do that because of so many corporations, so many operating systems, so many server rooms and everything like that have paid those billions of dollars to run on older or older machines, and then they need someone upgrades, and there's a couple guys that still have those old machines, and somehow they have to buy enough dongles, enough adapters to talk to each other and make that fine. To where Apple said, nope, cut off. No matter what you buy, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what Windows was trying to do. I agree now, yes, why do we have 3.1? Anything resembling that, you could probably cut it off at 95 XP and just say, hey, anything from these.
I think you can cut off at XP pretty reasonably. And in fact, I'd like to cut off at 7.
Well, they just didn't. Was it 7 they just cut off?
7 came out in 2008.
Yeah, but didn't they just cut off all...
No, January 2019.
Okay.
Is the official 7 end of life.
Yeah, okay, so that was... Yeah, so
they already cut off 8. 8.1 is I think might already be dead. 8.1 might already be dead. It might have been this January. Fixer, but yeah. 8.1 was what 8.0 should have been.
Yeah.
And 10 was what 8.1 should have been.
Yeah.
With the added malware.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you think NVIDIA partners would release a low-profile GTX 1650? Also, why do they include thick heat sinks on a GTX 1650? I think it doesn't produce as much heat to justify it. NVIDIA partners are required per their agreement to release the cards that use certain GPUs. And so I think the thing with the 1650 was they knew they weren't going to get a lot of allocation for it. And so they probably just put the 1660 coolers on top of them. They said, we've already engineered them, we've already got them. Or they put a 1050 cooler on top of it and gave it different colors, as is the case with the MSI that I reviewed. So we typically see a little bit lower effort, especially when there's not a reference design. And with the 1650, there's not a reference design. But honestly, I would always rather see a little bit beefier cooler than not, regardless of whether or not it needs it. Because if I'm running at 65 instead of 78, I'm way happier because I've got less fan noise.
Yeah.
So I never fault a manufacturer for over-engineering a cooler. It will never be something I give a negative review on. That being said, I don't know if you see, I have a 1650 right here. And just because everyone bitched so goddamn much, I bought an RX 570. So, was Jeff wrong? And should you trust one reviewer? That video coming up. I like how John went away and went, whoa, I'm not part of this.
Yeah, it's not part of my channel, guys. No.
Yep. Yeah, see that card on top? Yeah, I spent money again on the channel. So that 1650, everyone goes, oh, you got free graphics cards. You're such a shill. You called it the best card ever made. Do you realize for that $150 graphics card, I spent $400 to do that goddamn review?
Yeah.
And then you guys bitched about it? Yeah. Ask me how I really feel about that.
Whoa, Jeff.
Yeah.
Get the talk back down.
Okay.
You know, we won't be able to go back on our Xbox talks.
Demonetized.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yep.
We can't stream this on Xbox Live anymore.
Yeah, that's right. There's been a leak of a Asus 1650 Ti range. It has a low profile. I think there will be some low profile cards. Now, in the comment section of my review video, people said, this is just a 30 card. No, this is not a 30 card. 30 cards are 30 to 35 watt TDP. This is still a 75 watt plus TDP card. So whether or not you're disappointed with the performance of it, that's on you. But this fits within their product stack and the existing product stack. And in fact, this is a much larger jump from the 1050 to the 1650 than the 950 to the 1050 was. And the 1050 was a pretty large jump already. So the people saying this is a terrible card and it shouldn't exist, no, it's a decent card, and I think there's room for it. The RX 570, while I haven't tested it yet, is a pretty good card, but it's only a pretty good card because it dropped from $230 down to $130. If this was still a $170 card, you'd be complaining that the RX 570 was way too much and it drew way too much power, and the 1650 is the bona fide winner. You're arguing over $20, and it drives me mad. The other part of this is, the only reason that the RX 570 is $130 is because they're clearing stock because they know they're coming out with a whole line of Navi cards very soon. So there's a reason that the 570 exists at $130. So in 3 months, the 570 is not going to exist. You might have another card, and maybe the 1650 makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It doesn't matter, Jeff, because you released the video now.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why. That's the biggest complaint.
I know.
And
it now is trendy to hate NVIDIA. Well, what's really funny is Steve over at Gamers Nexus, Hardware Unboxed, got a lot of hate because he hated the Navi, or he hated the 1650. he got a lot of hate from the people going, well, I'd like a low power system, or my system doesn't have a PCIe power cord, and 75 watts for the win, and everything else. It's like, so you're arguing over $20. Really? And we weren't that far off in our evaluation of it. He goes, it doesn't make sense at 150. Maybe it makes sense at 130. I said, maybe it makes sense at 150, but it certainly doesn't make sense at 170. And for 170, you can get a way better card. We weren't that far off, but we used way different language on what our analysis was. And you hated us both for it.
Yeah. No, well, it comes down to I think it comes down to the people that are buying the PCs that are commenting. Most of the time, the people that are commenting on it are I don't want to say the PC elites or anything like that.
Not only that, not a single one of you had tested that 1650 before I did.
Yeah.
Not a single one of you.
People are looking at kind of at the Intel level or everything. I got to spend the money to get the best. Mm-hmm. It's not that. We've had the discussion plenty of times on this channel of bang for your buck. Mm-hmm. Is really a lot of your videos do that. Is it worth the money that I'm going to do this? Or is it worth the extra $20, $30, $40, $50 to buy this slightly less card? And what is the performance degradation of those two cards or two monitors or keyboard? Whatever hardware Jeff is usually reviewing, that's the best part of the show. And you guys are dinging him on that. Right. I'm not saying all of you, but that's what on that particular video he got dinged on a lot for.
Someone brought up a great point. I remember in the past when my GTX 550 Ti was 1 gigabyte was $160. So the power that's on the 1660 right now for the price is amazing. Everyone thought the 1050 Ti was the best thing since sliced bread. It was an amazing card. Amazing value for money. It was a 1080p high to ultra setting card available for $140, yep. $139, and later about $180. When the miners got a hold of it, it went way up.
Under $200.
But between $140 and $180 was what it was available for, and it was a great value card. 4 gigabytes of memory was going to serve you quite well for quite a while. This card is $149 to $179 is what it retails for, so $10 more. We'll call that inflation. Honestly, from the 3 years that's passed.
Yeah. Parts, hardware, everything costs a little more.
Inflation probably $7, so it's $10. We round it up. Big whoop. This card kicks the crap out of the 1050 Ti and takes its lunch money. Not only the 1050, but the 1050 Ti. And I called it the Value King because I took everything at what was retail price at the time. And honestly, there was only one card that was $130 in the RX 570. All the rest were $150 and up, so they were tied. And if I'm taking a 5% performance bump versus a 100% power jump, which is what the RX 570 has, it draws twice the power. I'm going to take the 1650. But then again, I hadn't tested the 570, so I gave you the results from what I tested. So I'm going to do a whole video on interpreting results that you view online, and you need to take every single variable with the salt that it requires.
Yeah.
That's why I bought the 570, is not to do like a was Jeff right and was Jeff wrong. It's to do a critical thinking of how should you as a consumer watch review videos. That's what I'm going to do that video on. So, is it just me or is the audio out of sync? Oh, don't say that. Don't say that.
It'll be fine. Give it 24 hours.
1650 coming back for the average Steam PC refresh. Probably not. We're probably looking at something like a 960. I've been running numbers lately. The numbers I was going to run it about 6 months ago. And so I started doing review numbers on where is the average PC based on Steam hardware reviews. And I came up with a number for the graphics card that was like directly between two cards, and it was a pretty wide gap. And I could have done one or the other, but I didn't own either of those cards. I owned like the next gap out. And so I would have had to spend at least a couple $100 to get a used card in to make it work. Lips are synced with audio. It's all good. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
All good here on audio. Okay. Sorry, buddy. It's just you.
Yeah.
1050 Ti is my current GPU. It will not get replaced until I get 8 gigabytes of video RAM for a card under $100. That's not going to happen right away.
No, but...
and I wasn't saying you should upgrade from a 1050 Ti to a 1650.
Ti is still a good card.
Still a good card.
It's still going to last probably another 2 years.
2 years. I'd say 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, typically with an entry-level card, you get about 3 years on it.
And then the Ti, you're going to get 5.
No, I would still call it the 1050 Ti because it was only $30 more than the 1050.
Okay.
It was 109 and 139 with the MSRPs. So I would say 3 years on that range. Typically at the 220 to 280 range, you get about 3 to 4 years, and typically if you spend $500, you get a bona fide 5.
5, yeah.
Right. All right. I'm waiting impatiently for this content. Cool. Appreciate it. Clapping is a little off. Well, I'm not clapping, so... Honestly, I produce this show as more of a radio show than a you should watch me, because this is the mug I have to work with.
Yeah.
And John isn't helping matters much.
Hey, did that get lip synced?
We really need the...
Yeah, right.
We really need a dump button on here.
If we had that, you have no idea how bad this show would be at the very beginning. It'd be beep, 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 beep. Intel, AMD, this. Oh, this beer's good. That's exactly what it would sound like.
Yeah. At least you brought decent beer this time.
Yeah. You...
Son of a...
Yeah.
Yep.
Essentially, this is the PG version of Pikachu. We're trying to get it to the radar.
Why are the second-gen Ryzen APUs based on Zen Plus? Because the second-gen Ryzen APUs are based on entry-level machines, and honestly, they're going to be lower in silicon anyway, and they're not going to overclock as high. AMD is banking that they are in a position to pass Intel and all of their silicon from Zen 2, Ryzen 3000 series for the higher-end SKUs are going to be sold for the higher-end SKUs. And the early results that we got, or the early report that we got, were yields are very, very good.
Yeah.
Which means much cheaper chip prices than we were predicting.
Yeah. Now, that's the big point, is the price point is coming down to price.
Yeah.
That's really what's going to come down.
It's got to come down for price, and honestly, I think AMD needs to make a statement as far as performance goes. I think they need to put up or shut up.
Yeah, I almost think they're not going to make as big a profit margin off of this series, but it's going to... the value that they're going to give for the power that they're going to be putting out is going to be surpassing so much of Intel. I don't know if they're going to make as much profit, but that noise that they're going to be making in that field will be so large that Intel will probably crap their pants.
Right. The early numbers that we had at CES was essentially a Ryzen 5 SKU beating a 9900K.
Yeah.
That was probably at stock frequencies, and that was AMD's numbers, but that was a live Cinebench benchmark where it literally tied it. That SKU is estimated to come in at $199. So to put that in perspective, $499, $199. Same performance at stock speeds. Now, how far do they overclock? Well, if we get the 9900K from 4.4 gigahertz turbo up to 5.0 or 4.9 or somewhere right in there, which is pretty achievable as long as you have decent thermals and you've delitted and you liquid metal, versus a 5 gigahertz Ryzen 5 at 8 core 16 cores, or at 8 core 16 thread. It's conceivable will be pretty even as far as performance goes. As far as single-threaded performance, core per core. Now, the thing that Intel doesn't have is a 12-core and a 16-core SKU. So we're looking at 50 and 100% gains over the 9900K.
Yeah. Now, we're essentially talking standard stuff, entry-level stuff. No, we're not entry-level, but standard stock clocks, a little bit of overclocking. If you're talking best for best, and I don't care what budget is, Intel's still going to barely skate by.
I think AMD needs to make a statement. I think AMD needs to win.
You think so?
I think they need to win to make a statement.
From if I remember what the stuff, I thought they were either going to be even or slightly less, but the price point was so dramatically different.
No, the numbers that I've been seeing lately as far as leaks goes, and what they showed on stage at CES was that their 8-core 16-thread chip stacked up evenly against Intel's 8-core 16-thread chip.
Overclocked?
Stock.
That's
straight up stock.
But I'm saying overclocked.
Right.
Stock, yes.
Overclocked, I think they need to still win.
That's what I'm saying. But
I think they need to still win.
But I don't think they will.
I think they will.
You do. Okay.
I think they will.
Okay.
Because
from what my understanding of the leakage was that they were not.
The leakage that I have,
they were close, but
the leakage that I have is not on performance numbers, but it's on frequency numbers. And the fact that they're touting 5 gigahertz boost on a 3850X means they will probably win.
Okay.
Because now the biggest problem with Zen, now remember Zen Plus was almost equal in performance at the same frequency. It was, if you got a 3.7 gigahertz clock, we're pretty much even or maybe even slightly ahead of where Intel's at. Where Intel gets the gains is they can boost a lot of their chips up to 4.7 and 5 gigahertz. And AMD kind of craps out around the 4.2 mark. If they have a chip that is going to be certified OEM 5 gigahertz and boost, that means it'll overclock to 5 gigahertz pretty much across all cores. That means that some of the lower SKUs that have a 4.7 boost clock will overclock to 5 gigahertz in most cases. So if you have a $199 processor, 8-core 16-thread that overclocks to, we'll say 4.8,
yeah,
and it's within 1% of that margin, or beats it if you get a golden ticket, I think AMD wins.
Yeah, no, and similar to you saying, if you even had, with that price point, you can now afford that sweet cooling process, cool it down, you're going to have a killer board for years to come. And still probably have $100 to $200 to go and be like, I'm going to go buy a gift for myself, or tell my wife or spouse, whoever, I need this big of a budget, and I'm under budget $200, and they're going to be extremely happy and be like, hey, do whatever you want now.
Yeah. And Chris Pro says the other interesting thing was AMD was edging it out with lower wattage. And yeah, it was overall lower system.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was like 95, 126, something like that.
Yeah. Now it was a 1% gain over the 9900K. It was close at stock speeds. But it was something like 70 watts less.
Yeah.
Which was huge. That's a lot of power to edge out a 9900K. What do you think of the U.S. Energy Department contract on building a supercomputer to them? I haven't heard of that story. So I'm going to say no comment until I read it. It's the first I'm hearing about anything with the U.S. Energy Department building a supercomputer.
Yeah.
Although I'll never fault them for building a supercomputer.
Is that like the thing that runs on Jeopardy, that supercomputer?
Yeah, Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I have no problem with it if they're building a supercomputer and they're using taxpayer dollars to do so, because what they're probably doing is finding more efficient ways to convert solar to power, or
other energy efficiency.
How do we rebuild this electrical grid in a more efficient manner? If they're using it for problem solving, sure. If they're using it as a dickwagon contest, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah.
So if they're using it and they're using it effectively, sure. I'll pay for whatever the government wants.
If it's a tool and they're using it as a tool, great.
And they're not using it just to waste taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
That's totally fine with me.
They're using it as a tool, great. If they're being a tool, I don't like it.
Cray and AMD. Yeah, I did see the Cray story where Cray and AMD have teamed up to build the world's largest supercomputer, or the world's most powerful supercomputer. 1.5 exaflops, I believe it was. Which is 1,500 teraflops if you're... or 1,500 petaflops. Yeah, exa comes after peta. Okay, yeah. 1,500 petaflops.
I got that.
Yeah.
I got that in my home media server.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's, I've done.
I flop some petas.
I flop some better. It's basically I just take all high def pictures, and I've already maxed mine out.
Yeah.
Honestly, I need bigger.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, John's way beyond megapixel. He's on terapixel now.
Yeah. That's it.
Or gigapixel.
Yeah, but well, you know why? It's because when you tilt it to the right, that pixel it goes up.
Yeah, way
up.
Yeah.
Way up. You just need that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what doing your camera can just
boom, boom, that's too much memory. Can't do it. Oh, out of storage. I get that all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like can't handle it. I always got to do this straight up.
Yep.
Phone just can't handle it.
Someone had a question on fiber. I'm trying to find where that was. There's a conversation between Skull and Gandalf. Can someone sum it up for me?
We would have to read it.
Yeah, I'm scrolling back.
I'm not seeing...
I missed that earlier. Dust Surveyor says, the scariest command ever. apt-get Windows update.
And you're stuck for 4 hours.
That's awesome. Pedo flops are illegal. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
But what about all my pedophiles?
Yeah. I was going to slam it down, but I didn't want to waste it. Oh, you.
Just set up. Like, I gotta hit it.
That was a good one. I lined them up for you. You gotta knock them down.
I gotta go down.
Demonetized. I should just rename the show Demonetized.
It's past 10 o'clock. We're good.
Yeah. All right. It is 10:10. I think we're going to call that a show. I wish we could end on a better note. But I think we're going to end there.
That's a great note.
That's an interesting note, to say the least. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on episode 80 of Talking Heads. So much fun on this show tonight. John, happy birthday again. Fantastic beer. I'm going to go put this one back down in my fridge.
Damn it. It's okay. I'll probably get back to it.
I'm sure you will. We'll open that another day. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video. Leave me a comment. What are you drinking down in the comments below? I do actually read those after the video ends its live stream as well. And if you have any other questions, leave them down below as well. We might be able to get to them.
Yep.
Anyway, as far as us, we'll see you next Wednesday. Subscribe to Hops and Brews if you haven't done that already. If you like the beer content on this channel, John does that to the extreme. He is way better at beer reviews than I am, although I'm not half bad.
Nope. Jeff's pretty much right there. I just give him more in-depth details.
He just films it.
I just film it.
That's right. So yeah, if you like the beer content on this channel, that's pretty much what John's wheelhouse is. Subscribe to Hops and Brews. Follow Hops and Brews on Twitter, Instagram,
everything,
Tinder.
Yep. We always swipe right.
That's right. Gotta swipe right. Anyway, thank you so much, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you guys.
Cheers, guys.